I think I'm ready. We can officially do.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
What's going on, everyone? What's up? This is Johnothan Mathis, the sports judge. This is another episode of Speaking with Judgment, hosted by your boy, Johnothan. And I want to thank you guys for rocking with us tonight. Thank you guys so much. I know there's a lot going on right now in sports. The NBA Finals is underway, so I know a lot of people are paying close attention to the game, so they might not be joining us right now, but you know, you guys can always watch this later on, so I completely understand. I'm one of those people who don't like missing too many sporting events either. I'm sure my friend Alex here that joined me tonight feels the same way. He's my special guest for tonight's show. Alex, what's up, man? Tell everyone what's going on, and how is your day going so far?
Honestly, it started good, but got extremely rough. But lately things have been tough. But it's an honor to be here in the sports court, and Mr. Sports Judge, you can officially declare that your court is officially in session, sir.
Absolutely, man. Hey, you know what? It's a pleasure to have you on. Talking sports with you is always a fun thing to do. I always enjoy talking sports with you.
Likewise, my friend.
We got a lot for our guests tonight. We got a lot to get into. We got the NBA Finals. It just started. It just tipped off. We got some NBA rumors. We got some trades that's already happened in the NBA world. We'll probably just stick to NBA. If we have time, we'll definitely try to unpack some of this Deshaun Watson allegations. We'll try to get into that as well. But first, let's get right into it. The NBA Finals. Al Horford is currently at the free throw line right now. That's a good sign for the Celtics because I feel like when they do get on the free throw line, good things happen for them. They have to score points. Jason Tatum, I feel, has to be that it factor for them if they're gonna win this game and force a game 7. Jason Tatum to me is the star of this team. I feel like when he's playing well, the offense is flowing. Everything is working tremendously for the Celtics team. The problem with the Celtics, man, and we've seen it, right? They turn over the ball too much. If not for the turnovers, I think this team would be impossible to beat because look, they definitely boast the strengths, right? They have incredible defense. They got all the playoff elements, really. They have second half execution. They have interior defense. They have great rebounding. They have shot making when people get hot. They have strong coaching thanks to Udoka. Now they have to bring that same intensity. They have to bring that level of intensity. They have to show everyone exactly what they can do by playing consistent basketball and physical basketball. And I think if they do that, they have a chance to force a game 7. And I think they will force a game 7 because that's been the theme of the series, right? It's been back and forth basketball. But, I can't count out the Celtics because they have demonstrated time and time again the true meaning of resilience. And I like what this team represents. I like that they are a well-balanced team. And the crazy part about it is that this is coming from a Laker fan. Because Alex, I'm a Laker fan. So this is coming out of the mouth of a Laker fan. But, the Celtics, to me, they have the stars, they have the right culture, and they have the right coach. What are your thoughts on this Celtics team? Right now, the score is currently 6-2 Boston.
Honestly, I'm actually wondering if there are any other Laker fans that are brave enough to actually tell it like it is, like you've been doing. Okay. I get it. It's the Celtics, the Lakers, and the Celtics. But look, I always say if you have that amount of respect and love for the game of basketball, it would not be difficult for you to simply tell it like it is. I understand that you hate the team, but again, if you love the sport and respect it, you got to tell it like it is, and that's what you do. I mean, when you deliver, I would tell you, when you lash out on the Lakers, and rightfully so, my friend, you, sir, are delivering quite the verdict. I mean, there's a reason why you're the sports judge. But as far as the Celtics go, I mean, obviously any super team has a weakness, and I think their biggest weakness is the ability to commit turnovers and to kind of like let that get in their head.
Yeah, the turnovers have definitely been their kryptonite. It's been a glaring weakness for them. They're playing really well right now. Jaylen Brown just knocked down the three. Steve Kerr called a timeout right now, and then you had Jason Tatum as well knocking down three. The score right now is 12-2. They're under 9 minutes. I think they're at the 9:25 mark right now in the first quarter. So it's still early, still a lot of time. And as we all know, no lead is ever safe against a very good Golden State Warriors team, especially with all that offensive firepower that they have. They have dynasty on their mind tonight because with a win, this would, validate things for them. They would definitely be one of the greatest dynasties that we've ever seen in sports. Again, I think the Celtics will force them to wait another day, a few more days, rather. I don't think the series comes to an end tonight. I think we will have a game 7 on Father's Day. That it's just the way the series has been going. Again, I don't think the Celtics are going to back down. Again, the Celtics, again, they have tremendous strength, and it speaks to their top flight defense, their overpowering size, and their explosiveness, which they've demonstrated early in this game, it seems, tonight. And when they get going, everyone, it seems, is scoring the ball efficiently. They're playing a great brand of basketball. They show that aggressiveness, and they produce in a big way. Hopefully they can keep this up. We all know that the Golden State Warriors, though, they like to show up in the third quarter. Do you see that happening tonight? And I like what this Warriors team represents in the context of modern day basketball. I like what this team represents. I like what this team brings. I like how this team is built. You can say a lot of great things about this Warriors team because they built through the draft, and look where it has gotten them year after year, it seems. The only times they were absent from the finals, it seems, was when they were ravaged by injuries. And now that they're healthy, they're back again. What are your thoughts about this Golden State Warriors team?
That's basically, quite simply put, I mean, the only reason why they missed they had their dynasty was briefly halted was because they were hurt. I mean,
right.
I forgot, after they lost in Toronto, because especially that final game of that series. I mean, that was one time where Toronto was honestly the better team. Even when Golden State was healthy, Toronto was just unbelievable. So, but Golden State is basically picking up where they're left off. But they got to commit themselves on now finding the future superstars, because Steph Curry is in his mid-30s now. I'm not sure how old he is now. I think he's 33, 34. But who knows how much he's got left. I'm sorry?
Who knows how much he has left?
Yeah, exactly.
I say he was born in 88.
Okay, yeah, so I would say around 33, 34, depending on what month he was born in. But yeah, he's starting to get to that point where who knows how much he has left. I mean, but so the Warriors are going to have to start investing in the future too if they want to keep the momentum alive. That's what I say about my Dallas Mavericks, because you mentioned that we talk about trades. I mean, there's definitely a trade that they made last night that's definitely worth talking about. I actually wrote about it for Playmakers blog.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that in a minute. But
as far as the Warriors go, they're fine for the time being, but they got to build for the future too. Like they got to get the right guys to keep it all going to basically finish what Steph Curry started.
Right. I think at this moment though, they're focused on what's going on now, because look, their championship window is still open. Steph Curry still has some years left.
Oh yeah.
And if he wins this finals MVP, now we could really put him in the conversation of being a top 10 player in this league. I think he, doesn't get the respect that he deserves in the fan recognition, because people hold that against him, that he has not won a finals MVP. This could be that year. He has put up.
I think I know why I know why they refuse to give him. You know why? Because he's 3-1 against LeBron in the finals.
I never looked at it that way. Wow.
You see that's the problem with so many uneducated basketball fans. Always all over LeBron. He's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And with all due respect, he is not. I cannot tell you how many. I've even got death threats are saying that. I'm like, LeBron's not the GOAT, dude.
LeBron may be in consideration only because he has been somewhat dominant in this era. And, even though he's kind of bounced from team to team and chased championships, it seems, he has still accomplished some of the most amazing things in basketball. I'm not gonna knock that, but he's definitely not the GOAT.
No,
he's definitely not the GOAT.
It's Michael Jordan, but if there's anybody else aside from him, it's Kobe. I say that with conviction. It's Kobe over LeBron.
Yeah,
I've got my reasons, but it's Kobe over LeBron.
It's definitely Kobe over LeBron all day long. LeBron is a special player. We all know how gifted of a player he is. He has those physical attributes. He has the amazing skill set. And what amazes me about LeBron, what amazes me with LeBron is the fact that he is still playing at such a high level at his age. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But eventually
nobody can take that from LeBron.
Yeah. Right. But eventually father time will kick in. And I think we saw signs of that last season, because there was times that he was ailing and he wasn't healthy. But to give you an update on the score, it is 14-5. Boston has 14. Golden State has 5. So Golden State is off to a slow start to begin this game. They look a little sluggish. Klay Thompson just knocked down a shot, so that makes it 14-7 Boston. 7-10 left to play in the first quarter. This is going to be a good game. I think it goes down to the wire. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, even though these games haven't really been close. I think these final two games, if there is a game 7, both of them will be close. Like I've been saying from the start, these two teams are evenly matched. They both have guys that can score. I mean, you look at the Celtics, they have Al Horford. They have Marcus Smart. He, pours in some points when he wants to. You got guys on this team that's good offensively. And I mean, the Celtics team is not a team to take kindly. This team, they may not have the experience that the Warriors have, but they're bigger than the Warriors, both on the wings and in the middle. To me, they're more physical than the Warriors. They have the advantage, and they have been able to survive against Golden State. We saw that incredible game 1, but if the Warriors get hot shooting, if they get hot shooting and their top scorers start knocking down shots, then it could be a long night for Boston. But I like Boston. I like the way they play. I like their style of play. I like that they're more energetic. They're more aggressive. And above all, they can be more effective than this Warriors team. If they just take away the perimeter and play a cleaner game. And what I mean by playing a cleaner game is not turning over the ball. Look, I saw a statistic today. When the Celtics turn over the ball 14 or more times, they're 1-7 in games. Mm-hmm. So that tells you a lot right there about the Celtics team. Turnovers have been a huge problem for them, and
exactly.
They're going to have to clean that up if they're going to beat this Warriors team. They're definitely good enough to beat this Warriors team. Look, Jason Tatum to me is doing his best to beautifully emulate Kobe Bryant, his boyhood idol. But his shooting woes are nothing more than how can I put it? The shortcomings, his shortcomings have caused him continuous trouble from what we've seen with his shooting. He hasn't really shot the ball well in this series at all, really. But the Celtics, man, they have
he can't stay consistent. I think that's the way to say it.
That's the big problem with him, is that he can't stay consistent. But I think what we've seen from the Celtics team, this Celtics team has built their championship aspirations on smothering defense and stellar shot making. That can fuel, eye-popping second half runs, believe it or not, from what we have seen. I remember going back to game 1, Boston outscored the Warriors 17-5 over the final 5 minutes to pull away for a double-digit win. So, I mean, they definitely have guys that could play. I think Jaylen Brown can, get on a tear as well. We've seen it. He put on a shooting clinic in I believe it was the second half of game 1. He went off in that game. He was on fire, just completely magnificent, and he's an energized wing player. And he has carved out his own identity, an identity of his own in this series. He's been amazing. So I'm excited to see the rest of this game once the show is over, once we complete the show. But right now, the Warriors are pulling within. It's now 18-12. So
we got a game now.
Yeah, it's a game now. The Warriors are showing some light. So you have any final takes on this series, and you want to tell us what you feel?
If Boston manages to pull through today, I would say it's a blessing that this game went to 7 games, because let's be honest, that's what we want. Now, if you are a Golden State Warriors fan, obviously you would want the game to end in a clean sweep, because you want the series to end. It's stressful enough, but when you love basketball like we do, I mean, obviously I'll never be as much of a fan as you, obviously, but when you love and respect the game, you want to see a series go to 7 games, because you want to see a war. You want to see the winner who comes out. You want to see them fight tooth and nail for that title, basically.
Right.
But sometimes, just because the team wins in 6 games, I mean, it's just because the team was just a whole lot better. But at times, when a series doesn't go as long, it doesn't create as much momentum, or it's not going to be talked about as much as another final. Like the 2011 finals, when the Mavericks upset the Miami Heat and won the title, that went 6 games. But the way it went, that's why it's well talked about. Sometimes it's the way they go.
Yeah, sometimes that's the way it goes. Well, my friend, even though the NBA Finals is going on and we're paying close attention, well, I have the game on in front of me right now. We're gonna move on to our next topic, but we're gonna stick to the NBA. We're gonna focus on the team that you support and the team you root for, and it happens to be the Dallas Mavericks. I know you're in Texas, so I know you have a vast knowledge for anything Mavericks, and you know a lot about this. So this is right down your alley, and we're gonna talk about it. Yesterday, they pulled off a trade.
They did.
The Mavericks traded for Rockets big man Christian Wood. What this does, this shakes up their roster under their new general manager, Nico Harrison, who's already making a name for himself by pulling off this trade. Now, it's a low risk trade, considering the fact that we know about Wood's off court red flags, his issues. We know that he hasn't shown flashes of maturity really. That's where he needs the most work, is working on his personality and of course his character. He has some character issues. I think that will come over time with maturity and with growth, but I think this was a great trade. The Mavericks had been, shopping around for a center for some time now. They needed another big, and hopefully a guy like Christian Wood can come in and complement Luka Doncic. What is your take on this?
Well, I do like the move, and like you said, it was a low-risk one because Christian Wood does come on the final year of a very expensive contract, so that's something the Mavericks don't have to worry about too much. I think he'll make a little bit over $14 million this next coming season. But one of the issues that Mavericks have to address during this offseason was the position of center because that's what the Mavericks have been struggling. Now, bringing Christian Wood somehow it's a solid solution, but I would keep going and see what else you can get because of all the centers that they could have brought. I mean, I think I swear to God, Rudy Gobert. A lot of people flirted with the idea of Rudy Gobert coming to Dallas, but I'm like, okay, there's no way because Rudy Gobert, number one, I mean, he's a French compatriot of mine. Everybody, I'm French American. He's not going to allow Luka to basically be the bigger name over him. So we all know that wouldn't happen. But I would imagine Gobert and Lucas being the European superpowers of the Mavericks, that would certainly be good. But I'd imagine also at the end of the day, Gobert will be too expensive, and the Mavericks don't want to go like that far. Like they gotta get the player they need. They can't just get the big name just for PR reasons and like that. But now that the Mavericks got something like that, they got to keep going though because they got to build around Luka. This playoff run is beyond match going. That's something that's going to be talked about. Nobody expected the Mavericks to beat the Jazz, and nobody expected them to beat the Suns. I mean, Stephen A. Smith is probably still embarrassed because of his claim. But I mean, even you have to admit, I mean, with the Mavericks, that even though they lost to the Warriors in 5 games, I mean, we have to give the Mavericks credit, but the Mavericks need to build on this because it's been too long since because after they won the title, everything just went south. Everything was south, and it was just we go from winning it all, and then it all goes bad. So now the Mavericks need to be back into contention for the title because with Luka, if they can build around it, a dynasty can be formed, and that's what we need. And I think Jason Kidd is the perfect coach to have a dynasty. I mean, because when I said that Jason Kidd was a good choice, people were. I mean, I was getting insults. I was like, I'm out of my mind. I said, and people asked, well, why Jason Kidd? Like, well, number one, he's a former player. He's a legend as a player in the Mavericks organization. He's home. He knows the environment. Like he knows what goes on. He knows what he needs to do. He's in a place he's familiar with. So when a coach has that opportunity, sometimes it might not work. But I know that Jason Kidd is the right guy to become the Mavericks head coach. He's somebody that he won a title as a player. He can certainly do it I think he can do it as the head coach too.
It turned out to be a good hire. I mean,
so far, I mean, it's his first year. I mean, 1 year we can't.
First year, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see in year 2, but so far he's looked really, really good. I feel like the thing that's been holding the Dallas Mavericks back is, and you said it, you put it perfectly. They're missing a number 2. They're missing a co-star to team up with Luka. I think once he has that co-star, someone that he could play alongside, because they showed that they have the role players. You can't take anything away from Jalen Brunson. What he accomplished last season, it was great. He was amazing in Luka's absence. You had his play, and you had Maxi Keebler. Other guys were, contributing. And it was timely contributions from those guys. So I think you have it's not a flashy supporting cast, but it's an okay one, if I make sense. But I'm on the same page with you. I think, Jason Kidd was a good hire. This trade can work wonders for them, can be another star in the making for Dallas, a team that was in desperate need of a big, and they got it. And I think this in the end will turn out to be a good trade. And I like Christian Wood. Again, it's just the off-court stuff. It's just his behavior. Can he mature? Can he, control his emotions, and can he maintain, himself as a player? I think he can. He definitely has solid numbers. You look at his numbers last season; they were great. He averaged 18 points, 10.1 rebounds, 2.3 assists, in 67 games. And he shot 50.1% from the field and 39% from 3. So, looking at his numbers, it was really, really good. So the Mavericks aren't really losing anything notable here. If anything, they're gaining. They're getting a player that has a lot of potential, and that can be great. I don't think this experiment will be a failure. I think this is a guy who will, be amazing for them. And considering how he plays next season, they may decide to keep him, hold on to him, and add him to their roster as a superstar for many, many years to come, if he can emerge into that superstar. That's another question. Like you said, he's entering the final year of his contract, which is 3 years, $41 million. But we'll see what the future holds for him, and we'll see how well he plays. And I think if he plays well enough with Dallas next season, that Dallas would extend his contract or renegotiate his contract in free agency.
Probably, yeah. But with the Mavericks, we got Brunson. We also have Tim Hardaway Jr., who's been hurt since January, and
that's right.
I believe that things probably would have been better if we had a healthy Tim Hardaway Jr. Because Tim Hardaway Jr. honestly is probably one of the most underrated players in the league right now. He was part of the, I believe he was part of the Kristaps Porzingis trade.
I believe he
was. I know.
I can't exactly remember, but was he? He might have.
I believe he was. Yeah, the Mavericks sent DeAndre Jordan, a couple of and Dennis Hardaway. The other, I forgot the other player's name. The young player the Mavericks had, his name's Dennis, but I forgot his last name. But we sent him along with DeAndre Jordan and several other guys. We got Porzingis and Tim Hardaway Jr. But Tim Hardaway Jr., when we re-signed him, last summer, that was actually surprising because I thought he was gonna go elsewhere. He signed with the Mavericks, didn't accept, signed, a reasonable deal. that told me, well, he has passion for the game. He's concerned. He's more like I don't care about the money. I just want to play. So
Right.
Yeah, he was. He was part of the trade. He was traded alongside Trey Burke and Kristaps Porzingis and Courtney Lee to the Mavericks. And the Mavericks sent DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and Dennis Smith. It was Dennis Smith Jr. Okay.
I remember Dennis Smith.
Yeah, there we go.
They had high hopes for him. The future was bright when they drafted him. Right. But the problem with him coming out of college was his knees. Remember?
Yeah, his knees. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the huge knock on him. But now we'll move on to a sport you really like, and that's the NFL. We're going to move on to the NFL now. And before we get into the Deshaun Watson stuff, I want to talk about another interesting topic in the NFL right now. Kansas City's quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, said on Thursday that he was surprised by the comments made by Tyreek Hill on a recent podcast that were critical of him and the Chiefs.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Tyreek Hill might be the only and first wide receiver that I've heard come out publicly and pray, and this is no disrespect to Tua, but praise Tua as if he's already established himself as this franchise quarterback or this Hall of Fame quarterback. Because Patrick Mahomes already has the resume of a Hall of Fame quarterback. Tua doesn't. So, I mean, I find the comments hilarious. I think Tyreek Hill is saying these things. I mean, they might sound silly to us, but I think he's saying these things because Tua is his quarterback now. What are your thoughts?
So basically, what is it about Tua exactly that he praised him, right?
Yeah, pretty much. He Tyreek says that. Okay, Tyreek said this. Here, I'm gonna read this quote.
All right.
I'm gonna here. Wait, I have the quote right here. Well, I had the quote. Hold on. Okay, well, this is from Mahomes right here. I'm surprised a little just because I feel like we love Tyreek Hill. Here, Holmes said as the Chiefs finished their offseason program. We've always loved him. We still love him. I saw him at Formula One in Miami. I'm sure it had something to do with trying to get his podcast some stuff and get it rolling. So, I mean, Hill recently, okay, here it is. Hill suggested recently on his It Needed to Be Said podcast, because, all these players nowadays have a podcast, right? He said the Chiefs and Mahomes might struggle without him, and that he was underused last season in Kansas City.
Oh, jeez. Tyreek Hill said that he felt that he was underused.
He felt like he was underused.
Oh boy. This is where now I really got to improvise because I got to pull up his stats because now I'm wondering, is he right or is he just exaggerating?
Well, Hill led the Chiefs with a career high 111 catches in 2021.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, career high 111 catches.
Right.
Had over 1,200 receiving yards, averaged 11.2 yards per catch. Okay. Scored 9 touchdowns. Like, well, okay, how could he say that he was underutilized?
I don't know. He also went as far to say that Tua is a more accurate passer than Mahomes.
Oh, jeez. I mean, again, no. Okay, no. Tua is a good quarterback. The only problem with Tua is just he can't his ability to stay healthy. That's the problem.
Right.
Look, yeah. I mean, okay. Tua is a good quarterback. Okay. I mean, he's not Mahomes, obviously, but look, yeah. There's never a reason to shit on Tua. I mean, I can't even say the last name. Tego Viola. I mean, it's hard to say his first name. Also, people, yeah, you think his last name is hard to say. Imagine saying his first name, but look. But again,
I think I only got his last name correct only once. I think I only pronounced it once, and that happened to be in one of my YouTube videos. I think the one time that I pronounced his name correct was when he threw that incredible game-winning touchdown pass in the same game that Jalen Hurts got benched for him.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And ever since then, I just started calling him Tua because I don't want to mess up his name,
Yeah, because when journalists like us have that respect, it's our job to pronounce the name, but it can be tough.
It's difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult. But for Tyreek, okay. So now I really want to ask Tyreek, dude. So what's your problem? I mean, did you have a falling out with Mahomes that we don't know about? Like, did something happen? Like, look,
that's a good question, right? It really is a good question.
I would never.
If they have some type of beef or something, or if something happened behind closed doors that we don't know about, did these two have a riff?
And Mahomes is not even making a big deal of it because Mahomes is not going to deal with drama. No, Mahomes is probably like, oh, if I'm Mahomes, I'm just like, okay, I'm surprised. Maybe I'm a little hurt, but really, I'm like, you know what? It's his opinion. Who the hell cares?
Right. And why all of a sudden are you salty? I don't understand unless
if they had no fallout,
something going on.
Especially if there was no fallout, then all of a sudden he's saying this. So that's why we asked. I asked to Tyreek, like, so what's going on? Like, what's the problem? What happened?
Well, you bring up a good point. I mean, it could be a fallout, right? It could have been a fallout.
Could that be why? Maybe that's one of the reasons why they traded him. I mean, let's be honest. They won't trade Pat. There's no way Pat Mahomes will be traded. I mean,
it's all speculation.
Yeah,
but that could be the reason why they might have moved on from him. That could have prompted them to trade him.
Exactly. We'll never know. I mean, see, this is these situations where there's so many unanswered questions.
Right.
We're in a maze where we just hit dead end after dead end after dead end, and then we probably won't get out for like God knows how long. I mean, so now there's all the speculation because of these comments. Now we're wondering exactly there's definitely something going on. But then I'm feeling because now that Patrick Mahomes has been pulled into it, something's now going to happen on this end. Maybe Patrick Mahomes it might come out and say something.
Because a lot of us were surprised by the trade. I mean,
yeah, surprised or shocked?
You were. I was.
Yeah, I got to ask you. Were you surprised or were you shocked?
I was shocked. I couldn't believe the Chiefs had traded him. That probably was the biggest surprise since Marcus Peters.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't believe he had gotten traded, but now he's in Miami, and now Tua has all the weapons around him, and there's no more excuses for Tua.
There isn't.
I think the bigger question for him is staying healthy, but I think he has the most pressure on him entering next season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But
the pressure is definitely on his shoulders, and everyone will have their eyes on him to see how well he performs and if he can, lead that team.
Yeah, exactly. But
does he have the ability to orchestrate drives? Can he throw the ball down the field and deliver on plays? Can he be that quarterback? I think this is a make or break year for him. I mean, you gotten better on the offensive line in Miami. You brought in some offensive linemen. You got a new offensive scheme now. So I mean, What else do Tua need? Tua has everything to his advantage now. Now it's up to him to go out and play his best football.
Exactly. So, but really, honestly, right now, I'm just kind of like I said, it's just incredible. But again, now we're kind of like, yeah, now we're waiting to see what else is going to happen next.
Yeah, yeah. Tyreek Hill, man, he switched up. He switched up fast. He really did.
So,
All right, man. We're gonna move on to the last topic before we end this show, and you probably know what the next topic is because I mean, this topic has been very convoluted. It's one that has people shaking their head, and it's one of those topics that's very hard to talk about. And when you hear allegations about a player, um, it's hard to make comments about it, and sometimes you're better off just not passing judgment, just waiting for more facts. But I think we got enough evidence to know um, the real story now behind Deshaun Watson. Um, it's clear now to us what really happened. Why in the hell do you need to visit 66 massage therapists? Why? I mean, one or two, I can see, but to have 66 different massage therapists, that's a red flag to me. That tells me
it's
that
yeah, it's
you're
shady.
not you're up to something, And I mean, Deshaun Watson has claimed more than once he has never assaulted, harassed, or disrespected any woman in his life, and then he used his mother and his two sisters and his aunts as a shield, saying that's not how they raised him, that he was raised better than that he knows better than to sexually assault women, you know, and I feel like he sounds like any typical man that would be accused of sexual assault or of any wrongdoing against women. They almost try to, you know, uh, find a shield, you know, and usually they use women as that shield, or they say that they don't have a comment, or they find an interesting way to deny the facts. You know what? I I mean, after reading that New York Times story, it's clear now to me, and that was great reporting by Jenny. Uh, she's been around a long time. She's a credible reporter. She does a terrific job as a journalist. So I gotta give a lot of credit to her for this report. And if you read the report, I don't know if you read the report, Alex, but I have. I read it a few times already, and I mean, it's a damning report. It's very, very disturbing. The news reporting on Watson's alleged behavior from the New York Times uh, pretty much uncovered a lot. Um, and now we know more about Deshaun Watson. Uh, you know, he saw these women as sex objects. Okay, I'm just gonna come out and call it as it is. Okay, he hired these women for pleasure. Okay, it's just as simple as that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Whether they wanted to provide the services for him or not. Um, this is a sickening story. He hasn't really said much publicly. I know he's he talked to the media the other day, and he didn't really answer much questions. Now I get that there's a process. There's a process for everything, especially when it's dealing with civil lawsuits and stuff. You have to kind of wait out the process and everything, and I understand. But however, there's also a responsibility for a quarterback, NFL quarterback, to also answer those questions, right? If you're confronted by the media, answer those questions. He said that he didn't know if he hired 66 massage therapists. I'm not buying that at all. You knew. Stop dancing around the questions and just say that it was absurd for me to hire 66 massage therapists. Because we all know what you were up to and what you and what was going on. I mean, it's
Big
clear
time.
cut now. Like it's out there. We all know. Because now there's more accusers coming out. There's more women coming clean. And Deshaun Watson is over here saying he doesn't know. Or that, he never assaulted or harassed or disrespected anyone.
Yeah, right.
This story is not looking good for him.
It's not too, and wasn't it announced not long ago before he was traded that the investigation had ceased or something like that?
That's what I heard too. But I don't know how true that is.
Because right now, if all this is happening, then I'm asking, did the investigation, did it go right, or what happened? It's another one of those situations where there's just so many unanswered questions. We don't know what the heck's going on. I mean, is Deshaun Watson himself going to admit to anything? I mean, I don't know. Again, all the unanswered questions.
He can't answer the questions head on. It's quite obvious. And he has handed it all over to his attorneys, or the people that's representing him. The media has to reach out to his legal team to get answers. And I get it, because usually when you're represented by a lawyer, they tell you not to say much, especially while there's a process and while there's an investigation ongoing. So I get it. All of this is crazy, and this is a guy who was awarded the highest paying contract, right, in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who gets a pretty friendly NFL contract, right? All of his money is really guaranteed. So, I mean, if he does go on the exempt list, or if he is suspended, he won't lose much of that money. He'll lose about just 1 million of the 46 million, if I'm correct. They would only garnish the 1 million of his 46 million, I believe. Yeah. So I mean, that won't do him any good. He'll still walk away with millions in his pocket.
He probably will, but
it will most likely pay off the women and be set free. I mean, have we seen that? We've seen that time and time again with celebrities and famous people getting let off the hook because they pay people off.
Exactly. But right now, honestly, even if the whole investigation was seized, the NFL could still launch an investigation of their own, and they could still suspend him too if they wanted to.
Well, that's the thing. I'm waiting for the NFL. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to hear from the NFL because we have not heard from the NFL. Okay,
Exactly.
what are you going to do here? Are you going to suspend him? Are you going to put him on the exempt list? Are you going to punish him? I mean, because this behavior in any shape or form, this behavior is not normal.
It's not, no. And look, I gotta be honest. See, I'm a huge soccer fan, right? And I don't mean to compare this because look, because there's been a lot of players because in the Netherlands, sex work is considered legal, and some players have done it, and then I've defended some players. Okay, first of all, there's nothing. Okay, they just went out for a night of fun with a sex worker, where it's legal in the Netherlands. It's legal.
Yeah.
They're tested.
Yep.
Like it's hard to explain it, but they're always medically tested. They're required to give what the client paid for. Like it's all well monitored, I think. Yeah, so it's kind of almost it's basically a legitimate business. But at the end of the day, look, so a couple of soccer players go out for a night of fun. It's not like they did anything wrong, but that's different. Like, because a lot of people are criticizing the players. Okay, so the player had a night of fun. Like, who cares? So he went out and had sex with he went out and had a night of fun with a legal sex worker. Who cares? It's something he did in his personal life. At the end of the day, he did nothing wrong. Okay, but in this case, I mean, the first thing that's brought up, yeah. So what was it? 66 massage therapists or visits to a massage parlor.
Way too many, yes.
Way too. Well, I mean, I think that's an understatement. I mean, look, I'll be honest. Lately I have been suffering a bit of back pain. I mean, obviously I have a difficult time sleeping because that's just the daily stress. But I can never sleep like if I sleep. Well, there's a way I sleep, but I have to keep my back bent because it causes me pain. So I've been kind of thinking maybe I do need a massage because this must be for daily stress. But 66, I'm just like. Oh, I mean, yeah, there's definitely something wrong. This is probably some sort of urge or something he doesn't want to disclose. But again, I'm just like, oh, I mean, if he felt like, okay, this therapist didn't do a good job, I'm gonna find another one. I mean, if he literally went on a tear because he couldn't find a place that he felt he was getting the best service, I would maybe understand. But you really have to go on such an obsession. But then again. Massages, I've done research. Massages are kind of meant to basically help reduce stress. It reduces stress. It helps out with anxiety. I mean, it's an actual thing. It's a form of therapy. So I guess in some ways you could understand, but in this particular situation, I don't know if I should say because we don't know. Again, I mean, we don't know any personal issues that Deshaun Watson might be dealing with.
He wasn't using them for that. He was more like he was abusing it.
I think you mentioned it was for
that's
pleasure.
What
I think that's what you said. You said
right,
it was
yeah,
exactly. Okay. Yeah, but so that's why it's shady and there's unanswered questions. But
right, but it's hard. It's hard to really state how you feel about it because again, we have to let the process play out. And the Cleveland Browns, I wonder how they feel about this because now. They're guilty by association.
Right.
Because they traded for this guy.
See, and now Baker Mayfield.
I guess they had this. I guess they were thinking that this would all just go away and everything would just be swept under the rug.
But it's not that simple. And now Baker Mayfield can be angry, and him being angry is justified. Baker Mayfield is him being pissed off and not wanting anything to do with this team. Now it's more justified than ever now.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to be part of a team that's got itself associated with this whole thing, it's justified that he won't sell it. And now Cleveland's going to hold him hostage and say, no, you're staying with us. I'm just like, but yeah, so Cleveland has got to deal with the Baker Mayfield situation. Now they got to deal with this, but I'm kind of like, well, not to sound like an asshole, but you got yourself into this. Yep. But some might say, but did Cleveland really know that all of this 66 massage therapists was going to come back once they got him? Like, some might say they must have known something about it. I'm like, maybe, but again, we don't know what we're not told. Like, anything we know is all from these sources. And sometimes you don't even know if you can believe these sources. Like, because for a time, I always say this whole thing with Watson, it was all, at one point, we would have to say it's alleged, we don't know. Like, still, right. Even today, we still don't know what the hell's going on. We can't, like, we can't tear Watson apart. Yeah, so these 66 massage, I mean, has it been proven? or is
But
it, or
isn't it too many
Yeah.
civil lawsuits? 24 women coming out, like that's a lot. That tells you that tells you what you need to know right there. To me, it does.
it definitely raises the red flags,
Right.
but again, like what we know is what we get from ESPN and NFL.com and Fox Sports, whatever, and
Yep.
we don't know if they're telling the truth. I mean, I'm sure those writers are probably they probably get stressed by doing the research and they're probably using with whatever they're told. I mean, we don't know. Nobody knows just what the hell's going on. Again, to solidify this whole thing, when there's too many unanswered questions, we try to make a show of it because it's content. But again, we have to stress to the audience, like, this is still somewhat alleged, like the 66, because we don't know.
And we'll see.
I mean, we can still say it's a red flag, even if it's alleged, but still, like, we have to maintain the word alleged.
Here's the NBA update for you. The Golden State Warriors are currently on a 12-2 run, and they have blown it open.
What's the score?
Curry just drove to the basket and finished strong on a layup.
It's probably game over now.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Steph Curry has.
The Warriors
snapped.
are going to close it out on the road tonight.
I think Steph Curry has snapped, and he's like, "To hell with this, we're finishing it."
And this is where experience comes in, because remember, he didn't shoot well. He didn't shoot well in Game 5. He shot the ball poorly. He was 0 for 9, I think, from beyond the arc. So it was a bad shooting night for him. It was a brutal performance for him.
Just one of those nights that even a legend like Curry is not perfect.
Well, and you gotta give a lot of credit to the Celtics too, because they frustrated him, they pestered him. They made it difficult for him.
They challenged him. That's what I have to say. They challenged him, and it takes balls to challenge Steph Curry. I mean, there was even a game where I think Luka Doncic was really, like, sometimes I even ask myself, was it really the Mavericks versus Golden State, or is it Luka Doncic versus Golden State? I mean, even Steph Curry, like, massively praised Luka. I mean, when you're Steph Curry and you see a guy like Luka, you're just like, damn, look at this guy.
It's 51-33
for Golden State.
Warrior. Yep.
It's game over.
Yeah, unless the Celtics do a hell of a lot of scoring. I mean, that's the only way they'll be able to get back in it. They would need a third quarter and fourth quarter miracle for that to happen, and they would have to tighten up defensively and make a lot of shots. They would have to basically outscore the Warriors for 2 quarters. It's game over. I think if they don't turn it around the second half. Definitely over.
It is, yeah. But now everybody's probably asking, why would I compare what these soccer players did with these soccer? Because I'm like, look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just these things that these athletes do in their personal time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, this whole thing in Europe, like, I mean, look, again, it's legal. They do, in fact, get medically tested because it's government requirements. I mean, I know a sports writer that's Dutch. He lives in the Netherlands. He's confirmed this. I don't know if he's ever had a night of fun like that. I mean, if he has, then who cares? I mean, so what? It's like that. But what I'm trying to say basically is, like, get the facts. Like, it's you always have the facts to the best of your ability before you kind of make a judgment. That's why I'm not making a judgment on Deshaun Watson. That's why in our case we can't deliver a verdict because we don't know. What do we know? We don't know anything.
Right. Well, anything that has to do with allegations and legal troubles, that's why they have legal analysts for,
Yeah.
Because we're not lawyers. We're not. We didn't go to law school, so.
I mean, it's
one of those. It's one of those.
As a joke, I always say I briefly did because one of my last journalism courses was basically like it felt like it was totally one of those introduction to law school classes. I think it was called Media Law and Ethics. So sometimes I like to say I think I kind of did briefly go to law school, but it was where we learn about libel, defamation, and things like that.
Well, as a journalism major in college at Cal State Fullerton, they make you take a class as a comm major. It's called communication law, where you learn about slander.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Except I guess they just called it media law and ethics. I mean, it's the same thing.
And that class was very complex. I struggled in that class. I got a D in that class.
My professor, she actually was a trained lawyer.
Really? I got an F in that class.
Oh,
yeah, I failed that class. I have no shame to admit it. I failed that class.
But you retook it and passed it, right?
Yeah, but then I ended up getting a D in it.
Well, hey,
Well, they consider that a passing grade because you don't have anything after that course. If you have something following that course, then you will have to get a C or better.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I thought that in the journalism in the degree related course, a D is not gonna cut it.
Right.
But you know what? Look, I'll be honest, dude. I mean,
that class was hard because you had to go.
Those classes are hard, but honestly, who cares about I always say, who cares about the grades you got in school? I mean, if you know your craft, if you know how to produce shows, you know how to do this. That's what matters.
That's all that matters. You're right.
One of the students I went to school with, he got straight A's in all the journalism courses we were on. And guess what? He gave up the career all because he had a hard time finding work.
I believe it. I believe it.
I didn't have the best grades. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
My resume. I'll look at my resume.
They don't even care about that. They just want to see you have a degree.
Talk to everybody I've worked with. Talk to people I've done shows with.
Right. Well, Alex, man, we reached the end of the show. Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate having you. And I want to thank all my viewers out there. You guys are awesome. Thank you, guys. Before I go, I just want to remind everyone to please share this show with everyone out there, and also subscribe to our network. This is an awesome network, so please subscribe. Please give us a thumbs up and tune in for upcoming shows and new content. We're always pushing out new work and new content. And again, thank you guys so much. Till next time, you guys take care of yourselves. And Alex, thanks again, my friend. For me and Alex, we are checking out now. You guys have a great Thursday night. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information.